Good morning, good morning, good morning. I am joined this morning by the lovely. Is it that way? No, that. Which way are you? That way. That way. No. Next to me is Kate Spencer. Morning, Kate.
Hi, Emma. Hello. Nice.
We worked out at a recent photo shoot that I can't do that very well. I'm rubbish at the love heart.
It's your little chubby fingers, Holmes.
I'm really bad at it. Woo!
That's it.
So if you are joining us live, please do jump into the comments box, say hi. It would be lovely, lovely, lovely to see you and see who's around. And I will check that we are streaming okay. So Kate's joining us this morning. We're going to talk, we're going to chat about anything that you want, really. We're going to talk about anything that's going on in your world. Hi, Emma. We've got the lovely Emma Tom online.
I can't see who's on the line, but you can.
Yeah, well, I'm going to keep that a secret from you. Morning, Jackie. Morning, Vicky. Morning, Vicky. So, we thought that we might have a little bit of a talk about some stuff that we've been talking about generally over the last week or so. We met up beginning of was it last Monday?
Yeah. So, yeah, it was a bit spontaneous though, wasn't it? It was like a bit, woo, why don't we do this? Okay, I'm there.
And we were talking about self-care. And this is one that we talk about quite a lot, isn't it? We talk about burnout and self-care and how lots and lots of entrepreneurs particularly get themselves into a bit of a tiz about self-care. Would you like to tell everyone about your self-care kind of philosophy, Kate?
Well, as you know, Emma, I used to think self-care was very, very lame. And I used to see stuff on Facebook about, look after yourself. You're the most important person in your life. Learn to say no. Have boundaries. Boundaries are fences made of love and all this. And I just used to click like, yeah, whatever. And then I pull my superhero knickers right up and just keep going until, bam, I couldn't do it anymore. And I thought, oh, this is new. Okay, I feel teary. I feel a bit rubbish. I feel like I haven't got any energy. I feel like I want to hide what's going on. And luckily, I connected with you. And actually, lo and behold, I was on the brink of burning out. And I had no idea. I didn't see it coming. Luckily, we caught it in time. We did all the stuff that we needed to do. I had a break. I had a rest. We did some really good practical stuff. And that was the moment that I learned about self-care. And I learned that actually, it's not negotiable at all in your life or in your business. And I had really been very, very naive about it. And I'm happy to say that I've been very naive about it. In fact, not only that, I'd take the piss out of people that did it. And actually mocked people that did it. So they thought, okay, Kate Spencer, let's just teach you a big fat lesson about self-care and about the fact that you've been very glib and you've been, rather silly about it. So yeah, I wasn't great. And I learned about it that way. And then during the writing of 12 Lessons Journal, the one that's current at the moment, so this is last year I was writing it, we got into the whole concept of this thing that I call tin bucket self-care. I don't know where it came from, just came. Tin bucket self-care. So I got to thinking, okay, how am I going to explain self-care in a real life way that's not all pixies and unicorns and glitter and all? No, boundaries are fences made of love. So I thought, right, well, come on, what's the nuts and bolts of it, Spencer? So I thought, right, okay, look, the thing is, every day you have, if you think of your energy as a tin bucket, right? Can be a plastic bucket, doesn't have to be tin. In my head, it's tin.
Okay.
Tin bucket self-care. So, and then I thought you get enough energy for the day, but during the day, you might have stuff that drains your energy. So you might have, and the Chinese call this qi, it's universal energy, but you have stuff that drains your energy. So you have holes in your bucket, I like to call them. There is a song in there. Would you like a little bit of the song? There's a hole in my bucket, dear Emma, dear Emma. Anyway, so I thought, right, okay, well, there's two things you can do here. The first thing is plug up the holes.
Yeah.
The second thing is fill up the energy in your bucket, because we know we can't give from a cup that's nearly empty, because we need energy for ourselves. And I started to think, what are the holes in my bucket? And I thought, right, okay, I probably don't get enough sleep. That's a hole in my bucket. There are probably people in my life who are a bit of an energy drain, and situations and circumstances around me. There might be me watching crap on the TV, might be eating too much processed food. What is it that anything that drains my energy is a hole in that bucket? There are certain holes that, you know, you may have trouble filling, or you might not be able to fill unless you sod everyone off and go and live up a mountain with an orange tablecloth on and meditate. But other than that, there is stuff that you can do. Plug up the holes. And once we plugged up the holes, we thought about, right, how can I fill my energy back up? What do I need to do that makes me feel good and fills my energy back up? And the discussion that we had last week, Emma, was about the fact that this filling up is different for everybody, because some people might need to totally unplug and go off on their own to fill up. Some people might need to do something totally different. I know whenever you and me meet up and have our monthly meetings, that actually I leave those meetings feeling really, really full and happy and awesome, because we're a great vibe together and we don't steal each other's energy, and that fills me up. It fills me up to spend time with my family. If I felt like I wanted to retreat a bit, I would do that too, but it's whatever fills you up, because it's personal. Some people might like to craft. Some people might like music. Some people might want to go and get a massage. Some people might just want to go and have a cup of coffee with a really good friend they haven't seen for a while. But it depends on whatever it is to fill up your bucket is what's right for you. And nobody else can tell you that.
No.
There are so many people out there saying, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this. There's one thing you should do, and that one thing is what feels right to you.
Yeah.
Full stop.
And I think it also depends on what your everyday life is like, because we, you know, in business tend to spend a lot of time on our own. And we connect with lots of people in the world, but not in a physical sense, not in a in front of people kind of way. And, you know, often when people go, oh, well, you know, self-care has to be about being on your own, and it has to be quiet, and it has to be thoughtful and all of this kind of stuff. Often it feels like, well, actually, I'm on my own quite a lot of the time.
That will be isolating for a lot of people. Yeah. And it might be harmful for people. So really, you know, it's what feels right to you. Everybody... What you and I share this as a common belief is that we want people to show up their own energy in that bucket, because when your bucket's full or half full, you can show up in your life as a different person. Everybody, especially if you're a mum, especially if you're working, everybody's been running on the dregs in their bucket, where you've had no sleep, you've had no time for yourself, you feel totally frazzled and you feel shite. How do you show up in your life when that is the case? You show up grumpy, you show up tired, you can't be present with yourself or with the people in your life that you love. And you hear people saying all the time, don't they? I die for you on the TV and in songs, and you think, well, live for people. Live for people, show up, look after you, because when you look after you, that's a gift to everybody else in your life when you look after you, because you show up as a much better version of you when you look after yourself. Because running on the dregs of the energy for anyone is really, really hard and really, really detrimental to you, your life, and people around you. Yeah.
And actually, you end up doing nothing well, do you? And so, therefore, it's actually selfish not to look after yourself.
Exactly. And that's the big mind flip for everybody, isn't it? And when I nearly burnt myself out, exactly that. And then, in a roundabout way, if I want to be really hard on myself, which I'm not normally, but the reality of it is that, was I helping my family? No. Was I helping the people around me that I love? No. Was I helping my kid? No. I had this crazy idea that if I worked and worked and worked and worked and worked and worked, I was helping everybody, because I could generate a bigger business. I could save people. I could help people. I could generate more flow and income for my family, and I could help more people out there in the world, and I'm helping everybody, and aren't I a superhero? when actually I wasn't showing up for the people I was supposed to be helping out there in the world properly, because I was frazzled and tired. I'm probably a little bit resentful sometimes, and I wasn't showing up for my family properly either because I was frazzled and tired, and I had none of that energy left. And whenever anyone wanted any of that energy, I was really, really kind of resentful about it, to be honest. So it's not a good thing, is it?
No, and I think we all do go through it at times, and you know, I think we all have different elements of life that throw things at us that make us realise that we probably have let slip that self-care a little bit, and that we've been working a bit too hard, or we've had too many drains on our time and energy. And it's continuous. It's not something that you'll find the right thing for you and that will be the right thing every single day forever.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And the thing is, people as well think self-care is like this huge, big thing, but actually it can be just drinking a bit more water through the day. It can be having 10 minutes at lunchtime where you go for a walk. It can be getting up 10 minutes earlier and doing a really quick meditation just to ground and center yourself for the day. It can be saying no to someone. It can be not responding to a text on your phone immediately. It can be thinking, I'll get to that in a minute. It can be giving yourself permission to go to bed 10 minutes earlier and read a chapter of your book so you can unwind and let go of the day. It can be loads and loads of different things. It doesn't have to be taking an hour out of your life and going and doing big stuff. Small, consistent steps compound anyway, so they can be as effective. But it's really just about knowing that it's important to look after you. And from a law of attraction perspective, when you don't look after yourself, the vibrational subtext of that to the universe is, I'm not important. Don't mind me. Don't bother about me. I'm not important. My energy's not important. Just leech it out of me and give it away. And that's just not true. And if you're sending a vibrational subtext to the universe saying, I'm not important, how is that going to manifest in your life? That I'm not important vibe? Come on, that's not good, is it?
And it's what you're going to do is you're going to attract in even more energy drains, aren't you?
Yeah, you're going to attract in stuff that you don't want. And if anything that lines up with I'm not important, you're going to get. Can you imagine how shit that's going to be?
Yeah. Yeah.
You shouldn't have said it, I swear.
No, I shouldn't have said it was okay to swear, because you haven't stopped now, have you, potty mouth? But it is totally okay. And I think, yeah, you know, lots of people have put in sort of suggestions on what they like to do, and it depends on their moods. And, you know, absolutely, if you've got suggestions on stuff that really does fill your cup, get them in the comments so that everybody else can benefit from them as well. And mine was as simple as I kept getting to 3 o'clock and realising I hadn't had my lunch.
Right, yeah.
Because it was just, I'll just. But now I've got a reminder on my phone that beeps at 12:30 every day.
Yeah, exactly. And can you see what it says on this cup? I'm sorry for what I said when I was hungry. A good friend of mine bought me that, because when I don't eat, and exactly the same, I'll work through, and then suddenly I get teary, I get upset, I get irritated. I think, God, I haven't eaten anything, that's fine. But my sister, my Tom, she puts a great spin on this, and what she'll say is, think about what you would want for someone that you care about. Think about someone in your life that you really, really care about, your partner, your child. How would you want them to treat themselves? You would want them to have enough water. You would want them to eat good food. You would want them to have enough rest. You would want them to look after themselves. So we can do that for other people, but why don't we do it for us? Because we've been programmed to think that it's selfish, but it's not. Do it if you get really, really stuck on that, and if you really, really get a load of resistance saying it's selfish, then make the decision that you're, at least in the beginning, going to do this for other people around you.
Yeah. And
that'll kind of get you out of that resistance. And then once you get into the way of it, it should be easier once you start to get a bit of traction.
A bit of traction.
That's Emma Holmes speak, that everybody. Traction.
Yeah, that might be one of mine. So I want to ask you about about being yourself in business, because I know that this was one that when we first started working together that we worked a lot on, and you were quite fearful of it, weren't you?
Oh, really scared, really, really scared. And it actually took a great big kick in the pants from the universe for me to come out as myself. When I first met you, I can remember I had a brand called the Lightworkers Academy, and I used to hide behind that all the time. You wouldn't really see a picture of me on Facebook. It was all sort of branded up as that, and I was very, very much hiding. And then what happened was we completely unintentionally violated trademark, and we didn't know the word lightworker was trademarked. So anyone out there, shock horror, it is. And we had to very, very quickly change direction, which in that moment I was really, really scared. And it was twofold. I was scared because obviously I'd been hit with this trademark violation. Through my head, the worst case scenario was playing out. But secondly, it meant I was going to have to come out as me. And that was the really, really scary part. And you helped me hugely with this. And now I'm okay with it. But to start with, it was really, really scary because there was a massive fear of being judged. There was the fear of people not getting who I was or what I did. What if people don't like me? What if people don't get me? What if people are mean to me?
What if you swear?
Nasty comments? What if I swear? What if I really mess up? And everything that I was doing up until that point was what you would call very vanilla, very magnolia. It was very kind of boundaries are fences made with love, wasn't it? Boundaries are fences made with love. And now, you know, we are much more out there as ourselves. You are, I am. And it's about having the trust that, first of all, you're okay. And secondly, if people don't like you, that's totally okay as well, because you're not here to please everybody. And the more you can show up as yourself, the more the right people are going to resonate with what you do. And that's the people that you're here to help, and that's okay. You can't help everyone. It's like you don't like everyone, so not everyone's going to like you, and that's totally fine. And I think as well, healing the wounds that I was carrying and the fear of being judged and the fear of actually getting out there and people seeing who I was and what I was about, because I was shit scared of it. I really, really was. And even now, sometimes, although I show up here really, really confident, and I think it's the same for a lot of us, it has to be bigger than your fear. It has to be. And it doesn't take a lot to knock me off my perch sometimes. Sometimes people presume because you're out here with a good Facebook platform and you're on Facebook Live and you're showing up and you're telling people what you think, that, you know, it's okay to have a go. But actually, I'm just some girl in my spare bedroom who had an idea. And we are out here putting material out there, putting blogs out there, putting posters out there, putting loads and loads of stuff out there all the time, because this is our service work. This is what we believe we've been tasked with on earth. And sometimes you do get knocked off your perch and it's hard, but generally we're good and we show up and we do it, and it's okay. But you have to kind of get over the fear of people not liking you. And I think when my books were launched as well, you have everything clenched waiting for that first crap review. And actually, once you've showed up a bit of resilience and you're okay with who you are, you don't really give much of a monkey's what other people think, because then you think, oh, well, that's okay, that's their stuff. It does hurt you on a human level, but you don't carry it.
But most people aren't mean.
Sorry?
Most people aren't mean, though, are they? Most people, no. you don't get it often.
No.
Because I think a lot of people have... Go on, sorry.
No, go on. I was just saying, no, you don't get it very often, no.
I think that a lot of people, you see, are very, very scared of the fact that putting themselves out there means that they are wide open to abuse, that they're just going to open those doors and the trolls are going to come in and everybody's going to be really mean. Most people are okay.
Yeah, most people are okay. And the thing that we've learned is, with me, I've got a really big page. So by default, I'm going to, you know, if like 1 in a million people are, you know, going to be mean, then I'm going to get 0.5% of that, you know. Yeah. So, but I think that's just first of all, if you're in fear about it, you draw it in, number one. Secondly, if people are mean, it's their stuff, and they are people who are usually very hurt and broken, and we can have love and compassion for them, but equally stick up for ourselves and not have to take it. And now, you know, it's dead easy just to delete someone from your Facebook page, or we've switched the messages off on my page because I had a wobble a while ago. We can probably put them back on again now. Actually, it's been a while. But you know, there is stuff there to protect you if it happens, and it is very, very few and far between. It's probably only happened about 3 times to me ever in the 3 or 4 years I've been out there. But because you're human, you do remember that. But let this be a message that although it's happened 3 times-ish to me, every single time we've come back and it's okay. Because if I was still scared, I wouldn't be here now talking to you. I'd be hiding. And that's a shame, because then your message doesn't get out there. So generally, it's totally fine. And the messages that you get every day offset that, about the people that you're helping, about the fact that you're on task, about the fact that you're doing a great job, about the fact that you've really touched someone and you've helped them. That's what keeps us going. That's our oxygen, really. We love that, don't we?
Totally. And, you know, one of the biggest compliments that you get most often is that people can relate to you, and that they love the fact that you're there being you.
Yeah, I think so. And you're the same. You're very much in real life very, very similar to what people say on Facebook Live. And that does make us relatable, but it's also a standard that I know you have and that I have as well, that we will not fake it up, because in faking it up, we would feel like we were tricking people, we weren't being authentic, and it's bloody well exhausting pretending to be somebody that you're not. That's a massive hole in your bucket, trying to keep up a pretense and a fake persona. It's actually a massive relief when you can come out as yourself and just be you. Although it's a little bit scary at first, you know, it's a massive, massive relief. And then you can just press go on Facebook Live and you can be you, and people expect you to be you, and there's no fakery, and that's a big relief. And that's unusual from people like us. People, when I say people like us, I mean people who are out there, experts, thought leaders, coaches, people like that. You see a lot of staging, a lot of makeup, a lot of lighting, all of that kind of thing, and that's fine. If that's who you are, that's fine. But what I've noticed, and what we've sometimes talked about, is we see people doing that and we can tell that that's not them, and that they feel a little bit uncomfortable about it. So we are very much just show up as you are. Because that's what makes it relatable. And especially when, like, you deal with heart-centered people, Emma, and help them to build businesses. I work with people who are heart-centered too, and you know, you can't fake it in front of these people because they know.
It's not fair.
You just end up,
it's not fair on you and not fair on them. And I think, you know, that's absolutely one of those. It becomes a barrier then all of the time. It's always something that you'll buffer up against. And do you know what you're an expert in? You're an expert in you.
Yeah.
Because you're the person.
And if you know some stuff that's going to help some people, it's like we say all the time. We know some stuff that we've lived and we've learned, and some of that might help you because it has helped a lot of other people. So why don't you try it on and see if it's for you? That's it. There's no hard sell. There's no, I know everything. Buy this, do this, sign up quick. Woo, woo.
I'll fix you. I'll fix you. I'll fix you. I'll fix you.
Yeah. No one can fix you. You've just got to get on with your own stuff and work it out for yourself. But we can share some stuff with you that will hopefully help and support you to help yourself. But you are always your own best chance. And I think anyone who doesn't say that, just run away. Run for the hills with your boundaries of love.
Well, I think that the thing is that, you know, that life isn't pixies and unicorns, and business isn't pixies and unicorns. And some days you'll have bloody good days, and other days will be shit.
Shit and hashtag shit a day.
Yeah,
totally. Yeah, I agree. I agree. But no one can fix it though.
No.
You've just got to show up consistently, be you, stay on task with your message. And sometimes the best things that you can share with your crowd are moments when you have had a shitter day, and being honest about the way that you unraveled the situation, that the insights that you gained, without being poor me about it. Wait until you've pulled yourself together.
Totally.
But yeah, that can really, really help people because it's authentic and it's honest, and that's why people say people like us are relatable, because we're real and we show up and we tell people what really happened.
And my mum always says that you have to have a bad day to know when you're having a good one. Because otherwise, every day would just be a passive meh.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree with that. Very wise.
So when we talk about, when we talk about actually getting into that position of being able to go, right, okay, I'm going to embrace myself within my business. This isn't something that you just went to bed one night, had to be called Kate Spencer, and then suddenly just jumped out and jumped into, was it?
No, it's a bit scary to begin with, and you've got to be okay with who you are before you can show up and be you. And my best piece of advice, I think, is to know that you are a work in progress, and to put that out there straight away. If you're going to set yourself up to know everything, be everything, and be able to save everyone, you're going to fail hugely. It's so much better to show up and say, I am a work in progress, and I'm going to share with you some of the stuff that I know that might help you. Mm-hmm. That's it. I don't know everything. I can't save everyone, because as soon as you put yourself up there on a pedestal or in an ivory tower, it's a big fat fail. Mm-hmm. Just show up and be yourself. I had to a point where I was, in order to show up authentically, and you know what that meant? Me really looking at my own BS, really looking at what I was carrying around, looking at why I was scared, looking at why I felt judged, and kind of getting my own act together personally before I could come out there and say that. And also, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay early on, when Facebook Live first happened, for me to show up and go, it's Kate Spencer, I'm a bit scared about being here, I'm a bit worried, but you know what, I'm going to show up anyway, and I've got a psychic cat and a deck of cards, and I'm just going to maybe do some stuff. And that's okay. Yeah, that's okay.
Totally. And, sometimes there is still elements of a little bit of nervousness, because before we came on, because you don't normally like to just wing it, do you? You don't normally you like to have a little bit of an idea of what you're going to talk about. And I went, you know what? I think we just come on and chat today, because people like to just be part of the conversations that we would have. And that made you a little bit uneasy, didn't it?
Yeah, totally. And I said, oh my God, I'm really nervous. And you said, why are you nervous? Don't be silly. It's fine. But yeah, exactly that, because I don't want to mess up. I don't want people to think I'm a bit lame. I just didn't want to mess up, really. But yeah, I still do get nervous. And, I'm not egotistical enough to sit here and pretend anything else, because that's who I am, and that's okay. It's totally okay to be a bit nervous. But guess what? I'm still showing up and doing it. Even though I'm a bit nervous, I'm still showing up and doing it. So there will be people out there who are really nervous and won't show up and do it. And all I'm saying is, when you can be brave and take the leap, it's not as bad as you think. What's the worst thing that could happen? My internet might drop, my cat might run across my desk, my phone might ring, big deal. So what? You can just cut the feed and start again another time. It's no big deal. It's fine. It's better to show up. Like, sometimes I'll show up in the morning for card of the day. I've got wet hair, the cat's all over the place. It's a mess, but I know people rely on it and people are wanting to see it. So I'll just show up and go, right, it's me. Don't look at my hair. There's the card of the day. And start talking, and that's okay. That's fine. Isn't it? Big deal. So what? Big deal. Who cares what your hair looks like? It's not a big deal, really, is it?
I think that the thing is that actually people aren't that interested in that anyway. What they're interested in is the message that you're there to deliver, whatever that message is.
You're not that interested in what your hair looks like, are you?
I'm going to have a look in the comments and see if anybody needs anything particular, because we've been chatting away. Let's have a look. So there's lots of self-care suggestions. Leander is in a bit of a sticky situation and is ready for a new beginning, but she's tired and resentful of what's gone and the fact that her partner hasn't even acknowledged that there's a problem. What would you say to that? Because I know that when you're tired and resentful, that really can keep you stuck, can't it?
Well, I don't think that. I think when you make a decision, and especially if it's a big decision, there's a few things here. First of all, you know best. You know your own narrative and you know how you feel. And this is for business or in your personal life.
Yeah.
But if it's a decision that has a lot of gravity, such as a relationship decision or something like that, then making that decision from an empowered place, if it's going to ripple through a lot of things, is really important. So if you're tired and you're feeling resentful and you're feeling fed up, you're probably going to look through a filter when you make that decision, and you may not have enough clarity in the moment to make a good decision. And I'm not saying that you can't make a good decision, because what I did just say was, you know what to do for yourself. If you feel like you want to get advice and support and help from it, my advice on that is don't get much. Only get a little bit of advice from a couple of really, really conscious people who you can rely on. And whenever you do get advice, weigh and measure it. Decide, okay, it's advice. How does it feel to me? I know my own story. I know my own life. I know how I'm living. How does it feel to me? And then make decisions that you need to make from an empowered place. Don't make them when you're tired. Don't make them when you feel resentful. Get yourself out of the situation, perhaps. Maybe go for a walk. Maybe this. Also, if it's big decisions, they might take a few days or even longer to unravel, and that's totally fine. But do what feels right to you at that time. That would be my advice on that. Do you think that too, Emma?
Yeah, and I also, I'm a big advocate of looking at your thought threads, because often we've got loads of little threads going through our heads, and, it's like they just fly off. And often it's a good idea, whether you want to call it journaling, whether you want to call it something else, but to start writing things down and keeping asking at the end of each sentence the question, why? So kind of become a toddler, and you write it down and you go, why? And it gets you to really look back into the backstory that you might not actually be seeing in front of you visibly at that point. So I find that that's often a really good way of working back from where you are to piece together the situation, so that you've got a good eye on what you are making decisions on and how you are moving forwards. Let's have a look.
Good advice.
So Paula says she's only had one nasty troll since she went public, and she's dealt with that. Fantastic. There won't be that many out there, Paula. Keely says, I have a few fake friends and I've had to take a step back, as they only bother with me when they want something, but they soon come knocking when they need me. I do feel a bit used. Probably. It's a hard one. It's a hard one, because a lot of people are really busy. But when people are only sort of winging their way around when they want something, that's not cool.
No, but it's also, I think I did a video that I haven't shared in my academy groups yet today about what you make things mean. It can just mean people are busy. Yeah. But only you know how you feel when you've interacted with someone. If it's a positive experience, that's great. Sometimes if you need to be a good friend and that person needs you, then that's okay too. But if it's consistently all of the time them taking and not giving, then, there maybe needs to be a bit of a reality check moment, and maybe you need to sort of try and disconnect a little bit, because you might find that they are one of the holes in your bucket and they are pulling out a bit more energy than you can replenish. But again, you know your story, you know how you feel. So it's about being responsible for that, really, and knowing that if it's not serving you, that there will be a kind way of you asserting boundaries, and helping yourself to sidestep that a little bit, maybe next time not be available when that person, when you know that it's going to be that kind of situation.
And boundaries, I suppose it's like we teach our kids, you don't have to break friends with people to have good boundaries. It isn't, that it has to be this way or not at all. And it's totally okay for no to be a complete sentence.
Yeah, and you can also offer people an alternative. This is another Emma Tom, whereby you'll say, no, I can't do this, but what about that instead?
Yeah.
And give people an alternative if you want to do that. So, no, I can't give up a whole day of my life and come and see you, but why don't we try and fit in a coffee for an hour on Friday afternoon, for example?
Yeah. And, when we look at boundaries is a big one, isn't it? Because, again, it's a little bit like self-care. It's one of them things that's spouted out there and people just go, what does that mean? What is it all about? So what do boundaries mean to you, Kate?
I think boundaries are, well, it's hard because we've talked loads about this month on my page, because we've been helping people who are empaths, who whether you're a complete, you buy into being empathic entirely, or I think it's probably like most things in life, there's probably a scale and people will fall into it in some way, that you'll either be highly empathic or, maybe a little empathic. But anyway, what happens is you find it hard to create boundaries because you feel the disappointment of other people rather than what's best for you. Yeah. So it ties in so closely with self-care, because when you don't have boundaries and when you are constantly people pleasing all of the time and it's to your detriment, you are not only giving away all of that energy, and then you feel like you've got no energy. You're also, again, saying to the universe, other people are more important than me. And then you end up showing up in your life being tired, being resentful, feeling paid off, not having enough time or energy for yourself, feeling overwhelmed and frazzled. And other people feel fine. And that's never going to be okay.
And I think that it's one that really is normal when it comes to business as well, because we give and we give and we give. And I think that because boundaries are so tightly interlinked with self-care, that people spout about boundaries and they don't really know what that means. But at a very basic level, it's making sure that you're having your food and that you are drinking plenty of water and that you are saying no if you want to say no rather than saying yes. If you're naturally a no person. So my little boy is naturally no. If you put anything to him, he'll just immediately go no, because he hasn't processed it. And what we're teaching him to do is go, can I just have a little bit of time to think about it?
Yeah.
That's totally okay too.
And that's something that we've talked about again in academy groups, is the breathing space technique, and how when someone puts you right on the spot and says, oh, can you do this? Or, oh, will you do that? Or, are you free for? Or, oh, would you mind if? Our default, usually if you're a people pleaser and you're a lovely big heart person, you don't want to upset people, is, yes, okay, I'll do that. I'll help you move house this weekend. I'll look after your kids. I'll take your dog for a walk. I'll get you shopping. Yes, of course, don't mind me. And then after the event, you think, oh God, I really, really don't want to do that. That's going to be a big hole in my bucket. So sometimes a good thing to do is to just go, is it okay if I get back to you on that? Or can I think about it? Exactly the same as you've said. And just give yourself that little pocket of breathing space. And then when you're not in front of that person, you can kind of sit with it and think, does that feel right? Does it not? And then take appropriate action. Now, some people might think that that's not a good idea, because then the pressure of the breathing space might be, oh God, how am I going to get out of it? I don't want to go. What am I going to say? What am I going to say? Again, trust what feels right to you. If it's going to feel better for you and you feel strong enough after a little bit of practice to have a default of, oh, I'm sorry, I can't, or I don't think that feels right to me, then that's different. But if you haven't quite got enough energy showed up to do that, go for the breathing space technique first. Yeah. Just buy yourself a bit of time and make that your new default instead of, oh yes, that's fine. Oh, can I get back to you? and just start practicing it with little things. Sometimes you get so worried about boundaries that it's a good idea to tell people who are around you, who are close to you, that you're going to be practicing it, and to say to them, I'm going to be practicing boundaries. I'm rubbish at it. I'm going to practice saying no to more stuff. So when I do it, if you could support me, that would be brilliant. Thank you, because I'm really, really struggling with it. And pre-frame it before this stuff actually starts to happen. And then the following week, when you get invited to something that you don't want to do, and you want to say no, then those people are aware of it, and you're not going to feel as pressured in the moment to go, okay, yeah, count me in, when you don't mean it. And the thing is as well, when you continually do stuff that you don't want to do, that's dishonoring you and the other person as well.
Yeah.
I would hate to think that people were connecting with me and doing stuff with me through sheer obligation. I want them to do it because they want to spend time with me. And if they don't want to spend time with me, that's totally okay. That's totally okay. You're dishonoring you and that other person, really.
And, you know, when it comes to business boundaries and things, and, you know, we often talk about the fact that within business, we, you know, we'll come out and we'll give to you in this kind of setting. So right now we're giving to you unconditionally. That, you know, you don't have to do anything in return. This isn't always about it being, you know, in exchange for. And, you know, when we look at boundaries, it's not always about the fact that we need exchange for everything, but it's about making sure that it doesn't deplete you. And effectively, you sent me a video not so long ago, you know, when you keep giving away to people, it's from the Course of Miracles, that you actually end up making the person that you're giving away to a thief, because they're stealing your energy and they don't even know it. So you know,
and then you get resentful about people, and it's not even their fault.
Yeah.
It's because you've been out of exchange with them, and it's not even their fault, and you get resentful with them, and that's not okay. So yeah, staying in fair exchange is really, really important with the universe, with each other, in business. And if people aren't going to honour the exchange, then that's when resentment breeds. And we do this kind of free stuff because we do other things that generate money, and that's okay. If we didn't have our businesses set up where we were sustainable and we could add even more value to people if they are in your hub, in my club, and stuff like that, then we would feel resentful about this. But it's because we do that stuff that we can now and again show up and do something absolutely awesome for free for people, and that's totally okay too.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. Would anybody like to ask us anything? Let's go and see if anybody's got any questions, if anybody wants to go through anything at all. You can ask either of us, both of us. You'll probably get us both chirping in anyway. Come on then, let's see. What does anybody want to ask us? Does anybody want to go through anything? Got some comments filtering through. Da, da, da. So, as they come in, what would you say has been the biggest learning curve for you in business?
I think, well, there's so many. It's just so many. The biggest learning thing for me, well, there's lots. There's more than just one. There's showing up as me. There's delegating stuff when it needs to be delegated, and staying in your zone of genius and not trying to do stuff that you're not very good at because it takes loads of time, energy, and effort and makes you cry.
Makes you very stuffy, doesn't it, Kate?
Yeah. When you could be supporting another soul on their journey, you could say to someone, would it be okay if you just did this or did this? So there's delegating. There's showing up as me. There's delegating. There's consistency as well. The fact that you've got to show up and you've got to just get your message out there and keep going with it. And also in the showing up thing and all of that, really, you never know whose life you're going to touch. You never know how far one Facebook post will go, how much your blog will mean to one person, how much it's going to mean to one person. And because we live in a virtual world, very occasionally you'll find out the difference that's made, and it's massive.
Yeah.
And you might never, you don't know. You have to put this stuff out there with the faith that the right person is going to see it at the right time. And that is fine. It might be years down the line. It might be next week. It might be today while you're live. But that if you show up with the right intention and you are authentic and yourself, then you're going to help people. And also do your own work, I think, is massive. You've got to do your own work. You can't just be out there thinking that you know everything, being in your ego and telling people that you know everything. You've got to do your own work on your own stuff. It's a journey for you as much as it is for everyone else. And you can't help people on their journey unless you're continuing to walk your journey, really. So that was quite a lot, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, I completely get it. And I think that I often refer to it as helicopters. So you've got these people just above the clouds that are just hovering around, and you don't know how much you're helping those people. So even when you feel like, you know, at the beginning, when you feel like nobody's listening, when you feel like you're shouting down a deep, dark hole, you know, that can often be your perception, but there could be these helicopters flying around above you who are getting loads of benefit.
Maureen, or it could be that go on, sorry.
There you go.
I was going to say, it could be that later on, if you see you kick out something on your Facebook page or your social media or a blog or something, and it might be later on when you've got more traction and when you've got more people coming to like your stuff and you've got your message out there a bit more, that something you said a while ago could massively help someone now. The stuff that you're doing now could help people in the future, and you don't even know about that. So it's just about having faith and showing up and staying on task with your message, really.
Mo's asked about tips for working at home. I've popped in a blog there, Mo, that's got my 10 top tips for being a home worker. But I love yours. Park around the corner and then they think you're out.
Ha! Yeah, I love that.
Sneaky, Mo, sneaky. Tracy wants to know about how she starts on the path to finding her worth.
Worth as in self-worth?
I think so.
Well, it's a journey for sure, but I think the first thing I would do is look at maybe the wounds that you carry that are not in alignment with worthiness. What is it that's happened to make you feel like you're not worthy, and what needs to be healed there? Because we're all born worthy, aren't we? I mean, a kid tumbles out of bed in the morning and they're here. You know, they don't feel the way that we feel. It's usually because something's happened to you, a life event, the relationship, something that someone said that's knocked that self-worth. So whatever that is, I would probably want to find out what that was. If you need support and help with that, then there are people out there that can help. For me, it will be finding out what was making me feel unworthy and healing that in order to find your worth. So it's not just about finding your worth, it's about what made you feel unworthy and healing that, because I think worthiness that's our natural state, really. And it's finding that again and finding out what moved you away from that would be what I would say. Would you agree, Emma?
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's about starting to, you know, celebrate the good things about you as well, because I think that we so often focus straight into, but I'm this and I'm this and I'm this and I'm this, all the bits, but actually looking at what you are good at, you know, when you have made a difference, and celebrating the positives, because, you know, we're all multifaceted in our personalities, all of us. And, you know, nobody out there has only got a list of good qualities, and nobody out there has only got a list of bad qualities. And, you know, good, bad, it's all relative, and it's all depends on perception and circumstance. So I think, you know, start to be a little bit of a cheerleader for yourself as well, and cheerlead the stuff that you do well and the stuff that you have got done and how far you have come, rather than immediately looking at, well, I wish I was better at this, or I wish I could do that, or whatever it might be.
Yeah, I've just started going to the gym, and I'm going to get a t-shirt that's for the gym to wear that says, I'm good at other things.
I'm only here so I can have cake later.
So what if I'm not good at this? So what? I'm showing up and I'm doing it, and I might not be good at it, but I'm good at other things, and so what? I'm not bothered.
Totally. Bethany says that she's an empath and she's always helped when she could. She's at a point where she needs some physical help. Should she be bothered that the people that she's helped in the past won't help her? They're turning down money and a fair wage for the task. I think it's about not being attached to that and looking at who will help you and who you can get in to support you, rather than getting stuck in who doesn't want to support you. Would you say?
Yeah, and I think that the universe sometimes will join the dots up in unexpected ways, and perhaps those people actually, although we think in our human mind, are the best people right now. Mm-hmm. Maybe the universe is shoving you in another direction and they're not the best people for you right now, and perhaps there's a different outcome. I would hold the intention that the greatest and highest good for everyone concerned will occur, and if it's not them, that's totally fine. Don't take it personally. It's like I said, what do we make things mean? Mm-hmm. We tend as humans to make it mean, I'm not good enough, they don't like me, they're judging me, people think I'm weird, whatever. When actually it might not be that at all. It might be that there's stuff going on in their life that we don't know about, and that's totally fine. It's not for them right now, and that's okay. So who is it right for? And set an intention that you want to find them, because the more you focus on the fact that it's a lack, isn't it? You're focused on the fact that it's not working, it's not happening, they don't want it, and then you're just going to draw more of that in. So instead, just release it and focus on the fact that the right person is coming, and that's fine.
Katie says, how do you stop being upset and bothered by horrible things that go on in the world? Do you want to go first?
Well, I'll jump in. I don't watch the news. Because I feel like for me it's a bit pointless, because it's normally stuff I can't change, and it's very, very upsetting. And I know my service work for humanity and to show up on my page and to help the people in my academy, that I know that's where I do make a difference and where I can make a difference. And I know that if I'm in a shit place, I can't do that. So it's not that I don't have compassion. I always help where I can. If there's an opportunity for me to help where I can, to open a door, to smile to someone, if it's physical, I'm charitable, I help people where I can, but I do not take on the weight of the world, because that would crush me and I would show up in a really, really crap way. And that's part of my self-care, that I choose not to do that. Doesn't mean that I don't feel compassion, because I do, but I will not take that on in order to protect myself. So I focus on what I can change, and Stephen Covey calls this circles of influence and circles of concern. I stay in my circle of influence as much as I possibly can. I cut cords with situations, people and stuff. I plug up the holes and I shore up my own energy, and then I make a difference where I can. So I think that's quite similar to Emma, isn't it?
Yeah, I stopped watching the news probably about 15 years ago. I used to be quite a big news consumer, and it would be the 10 o'clock news before I went to bed. So I would watch all of that and then go and try and go to bed. But now I consume news if I want to consume news. So I'm not just going, I will go and look for information if I want to, or I'll check in with the headlines where I feel like I'm in a good place to, so that I know what's going on in the world. But like you said, what can you do in certain circumstances? And, where can you help humanity? Where can you move things forward, rather than being stuck in the horror and the tragedy that is out there? Because for every tragic story, there's an amazing, inspiring and uplifting story. So it depends on which one you want to choose to consume.
Agree.
High five.
Agree.
Judy would rather watch Moana than the news. And I know that Judy has also watched Moana a number of times, as have I. And sometimes it gets a little bit drawing. Anybody like to ask us anything else? before we nip off and fill our buckets with lunch.
Yeah, exactly.
Any more for any more. It's those stories that pop up on Facebook, for example, when people have been on holiday and there's animal cruelty. It's heartbreaking. I would filter my social media too. You know, there's an awful lot of social media that I'll go through. There's a little arrow on the right-hand side, and you can say, I don't want to see this post, hide this post, and the reasons why you want to hide it. You can feed those back to Facebook if you want to, or you can simply hide those posts. It's not about being non-compassionate, but it's about looking at actually what can you do. So let's have a look. Lots of people saying that they don't watch the news. Yeah, Judy says she's watched it too many times under duress. Yeah, me too, Judy. Me too. I think I've pulled a blinder though, because I think I've left the DVD at Grandma's. The news is a media. They want views. Absolutely, they do. And, you know, an awful lot of it is sensationalised in order for people to watch, isn't it?
Are you still there, Emma? It seems like frozen, perhaps.
No, I can still hear you. I can still hear you.
Hello,
And
hello.
Mike says, thank you. It's taken me a long time to focus on my good quality.
Goodness. Well, I can't see Emma, so I better just keep talking as if you can still see me.
All right.
What happened? My Wi-Fi is a little bit up and down.
Okay.
Is she going to come back? Hold on, let me fiddle.
Nope.
Hold on. Maybe you can just see me. I don't know. I'll open my laptop and have a look on her page. Hold on. If you can just see me, it's turned into the Kate Show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Kate Show.
Oh, where the kids just
Hold
talking.
on, I'm just going to have a little look.
All cruel children, animal plots, just focus on what I'm
find.
The world's
going on. Da, 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 da.
So
we're going to wrap up anyway.
I'm going to call it a session. So I hope
more or less
super duper
what we were going to say. But I can still see a little live icon, and I can see that people are watching. So it may be that you can still see either one of us or both of us. I don't know. I haven't had a message from Emma to say it's time to wrap up. So yeah.
I'm going to wrap up.
What's happened? So I'm going to say goodbye anyway.
So,
I'll say goodbye now anyway.
Absolutely.
You can still see
Fantastic
me.
day.
You are frozen. Oh, okay.
Bye.
Okay, I can see and hear you, Kate and Emma. Okay.